Hello dear traders, the US stock market is showing signs of exhaustion. The losing streak of stock leaders could be the final stage of the large correction. Are there any conditions for growth in the stock market? What's the outlook for Bitcoin? And when is the best time to buy American shares? Let's discuss it all in this video. On Friday, the US stock market closed in the red. All major stock indices incurred painful losses. Interestingly, investors took advantage of the fall to open long positions. They pushed stocks up. However, later on, large investors rushed to sell shares. The Nasdaq logged the sharpest drop of 2.7%. Dow Jones shed 1.3%. S&P500 lost 1.9%. One of the reasons behind the plunge in the Nasdaq was a downbeat report from Netflix. This week, investors are anticipating reports from high-tech giants such as Tesla, Microsoft and Apple. Meanwhile, futures for the S&P500 have been trading lower for 4 days in a row. The index has lost 9% since the beginning of the year and tightly approached a 50-week moving average. This is a deep fall for a correction, so the time is right for buying stocks. Today, the S&P 500 is extending losses, trading now at about 4,368 points. The expected corridor for the index is 4,380 to 4,440 points. The US dollar index remains in a trading range while US inflation has been settling historic records. The Omicron variant is raging across the country and the US exchange floors are trading in the red. The only factor to propel the greenback's rally is the Fed's response to soaring inflation. Consumer prices might surge to a new all-time high in January. US business media reports that food supply chains are disrupted due to the shortage of labor force on the back of COVID resurgence. Market participants are alert to the PCE index for December, which is due on Friday. Another report of major importance is the US GDP data for the fourth quarter that will be released on Thursday. The US national output is expected to expand by 5.6% on year from the minor 2.3% growth in the third quarter. The highlight of the week is certainly the Fed's verdict that will be announced on Wednesday. Investors are wondering whether the regulator will delay the first rate hike until the Omicron takes a backseat or will venture into the first rate hike in March. Awaiting the Fed's decision, the US dollar index has climbed to 95.99, having left the previous tight range between 95.40 and 96 points. The greenback could develop a new bullish wave after the Federal Reserve comes up with hawkish statements. Perhaps a jump of the dollar versus CAD pair has set the stage for a further advance of the US currency. Oddly enough, the currency pair leapt despite elevated oil prices that have surged to the strongest levels in 5 years. Traders have high expectations of a rate hike by the Bank of Canada amid a robust recovery in the Canadian labour market and inflated consumer prices. As a result, the loonie is losing ground against its American rival. The currency pair is now trading at nearly 1.2639. It's likely to hold in the corridor between 1.2510 and 1.2680. The flagship cryptocurrency is rapidly losing in value. Crypto traders are selling risky assets before the crucial event for global financial markets, the Fed's policy update. Massive sell-offs of the last week have already sliced almost $350 billion off Bitcoin's market capitalization. Currently, the digital token is trading at about $33,476. If the downtrend persists, Bitcoin could slump as low as $24,000. Some experts have an alternative viewpoint. Perhaps Bitcoin price has already hit the bottom. Anyway, the situation will clear up on Wednesday following the Fed's verdict. In the meantime, Bitcoin is expected to trade in the corridor between $36,444 and $33,000 today. To sum up, despite the ongoing large correction, we foresee a revival on Wall Street in the coming days. Probably it will happen today. Please be aware that the level around a 50-week moving average for the S&P 500 is an excellent market entry point for long positions. Indeed, even though the index closes flat today, investors hope long positions today will gain a profit of 9%. This is way higher than an interest on bank deposits. Our team wishes you successful buying and a gainful week. Good luck and see you tomorrow.